You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors. With me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And every week, I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid, working, unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready? Hello, and welcome to episode 52 of the Unstoppable Actors podcast. Before we get into today's topic, I just want to say the biggest thank you ever. We have hit 10,100 downloads. If you've been following for the last few episodes, you will have heard me on some episodes share how many downloads we're at, and I kept saying it was my goal to get to 10,000, and we've surpassed it. And I'm truly grateful to you for listening to the Unstoppable Actors podcast, whether this is your 10th episode you've listened to, your 30th, or even your first. I'm truly grateful to have you as a listener. And I'm also truly grateful for all of the downloads and all of the shares of the episodes and all of the reviews that are left. Honestly, this podcast would not exist if you weren't listening. So again, I just want to say thank you. I'm truly grateful. I do want to share a real quick story about this podcast though, because I feel like it's really relatable to an acting career. I had the idea to do a podcast for actors back in, I think it was either 2018 or 2019. And I kept thinking about it, but I kept procrastinating on it because I literally didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to set up a podcast, and fear took over. And it's important that I mention this because this is going to play a part in today's episode. I'm going to be talking about fear as well. But fear took over because it was the fear of the tech, of like, oh my God, it's going to be so complicated and so overwhelming, and there's going to be so many things to do that I don't know how to do. And eventually, I think it had been about a year or just over a year, and I was like, oh my God, I had to have a word with myself. I was like, come on, Louise, just get on with it. So I started learning about how to actually set up a podcast, how to even record one, how to host one, and all these other technical things that you probably don't really need to know about. But when I got learning, I was like, oh my God, it's actually easier than I thought, because I broke it down into simple steps and I didn't give myself too much to do all at once. And anyway, so I got my first podcast episode out back in, I think it might have been December 2021, I think it was. You can go back all the way back, scroll back. It's a 7-minute podcast episode. I was really proud of that episode. I absolutely loved it. I think I literally just riffed it all. I knew the idea of what I was talking about and just riffed it, or improvised it, might be a better word for us actors. But even then, I still didn't know what I was really doing with the podcast. Like I knew I wanted it to reach people around the world, which it does now. I mean, gosh, we've got listeners in Canada, America, all over Europe, the UK, Australia, India. It's crazy when I look inside the stats at where the people are listening from. It blows my mind. But right back at the beginning, I didn't really know, other than I wanted a global audience, what I was really doing with it. And it made very, very, very slow progress. Didn't get very many downloads at all in the early days. It took a while to build up to that. The reason I'm sharing all of that with you is because that's pretty much like an acting career. In the beginning, it can seem very overwhelming. It can seem like there's absolutely loads of things that you've got to do and you don't know how to do them. But you've literally just got to learn, and don't give yourself too many things to learn at once, just like I did with the podcast. And then, just like I've said, it's taken a while for this podcast to build up. We've not gone from 0 to 10,000 downloads overnight. No way. It's just taken consistency. I've had to keep going at it and keep going at it and keep going at it. And eventually it's built momentum and it's compounded. And that's pretty much like an acting career. Like, you are going to start off slow. You are absolutely going to start off slow. You're not going to go from 0 to 60 overnight. And 0 to 60 for me would be something like going from a newbie, a beginner, a complete unknown to Hollywood, or to, big TV drama, or whatever it is, the West End or Broadway. Like, you're not literally going to go from that. It's very, very, very rare that happens. So before I even get into today's episode and all the nitty-gritty of that, I just want to reassure you that with commitment and learning things without overwhelming yourself and consistency, things will pay off. They absolutely will. You've just got to have faith in yourself and just keep going and get really clear on where it is that you're actually going. Anyway, that's not even what today's episode is about, and I've spent 5 minutes talking about that, but hopefully it's inspired you. Hopefully it's got the cogs turning in your mind. Now, we are going to be talking about the 3 signs that you're an invisible actor and actually what you can do to turn this around, because there are so many invisible actors in the industry. It's mind-blowing. And I don't want you to be an invisible actor. I want you to be an unstoppable actor, hence the name of the podcast. But before I do go into that, have you heard about total character immersion? Now, if you haven't, don't worry, I'm going to share quickly what it is. So Total Character Immersion is a hybrid course. It is professional method actor training. And I was talking about learning things but it not being overwhelming. That is exactly what Total Character Immersion is. It's in-depth professional method acting training, but it's not so overwhelming that you're like, oh my God, there's so much to learn here. I don't know my head from my arse, as we would say in the UK. It's a course that allows you to immerse into characters with ease. So that means no more flat performances, no more solely playing you, no more being too hammy or approaching the characters too logical. It's an online/live, hence it being hybrid, method acting course that's going to allow you to wow your audiences so they actually forget that you're acting, which means hello, more roles when it comes to auditions. So when I'm saying it's a hybrid course, there are 6 modules of pre-recorded acting lessons already laid out for you that you can keep for life. You can go back to them again and again and again and again. And then there are also 6 live acting classes that will be taking place via Zoom starting Sunday the 12th of February, 8:30pm till 9:30pm UK time, which I think is about 3:30pm Eastern Standard Time, so like New York time. So just because I'm from the UK doesn't mean you have to be from the UK to take this. You can be from anywhere in the world. And what the live classes do is we work through the modules and I coach you individually. So it's amazing to get that crucial feedback that you need. Anyway, there are only 5 days left to enroll. There are only 7 places left and there's a 10% discount code available for you. So if you use the discount code Unstoppable Actor, all in capitals, no spaces, you will get 10% off. You just need to click the link below this podcast episode, which will take you to the enrollment page. So let's crack on with the episode then. Let's first of all find out what are these 3 signs that you are an invisible actor. And I want you to see if you relate to any of these. So the first one is you don't shout about the progress that you make in the acting industry. That's the first sign. The second sign is that you haven't had an audition in the last 6 to 12 months. And then the third sign that you're an invisible actor is that your CV hasn't had any new credits in the last 6 to 12 months. Now, you might be all 3 of these. You might be going, oh my God, that's me for all 3 of them. You might be 1 or 2 of them. It doesn't matter. What we want to do is we want to turn all of these around. So this is nothing to beat yourself up about, I don't want you to sit here listening to this podcast going, oh my God, that's me. There's something wrong with me. I'm really bad. Don't even get into that, because that just takes us down a dead end road where you just end up being even more invisible as an actor. It does, of course, need turning around. And that is what I'm going to help you with in this episode. Now, what I want to share with you about all 3 of these things is that it usually comes down to a lack of confidence. Now, confidence is a really general term, and most people mistakenly think that successful actors are just naturally confident. They ooze confidence. They were born confident. I mean, we all were born confident, but, obviously life has this way of sometimes knocking the confidence out of us. But what I want to tell you is that even if life has knocked the confidence out of you, confidence comes from doing. So you can build it back up nice and easily just by taking small action steps. So when you start taking small action steps that are slightly outside of your comfort zone, the more you do this, the more your confidence builds up. And that is how you become confident. And when you start to become confident in yourself as an actor, and it really doesn't matter what level you're at, you might be a first timer. You might have a couple of amateur credits on your CV or a couple of student films under your belt. You might have got 10 credits on your CV. You might have had a break from the acting industry. Maybe you've done commercials in the past and now you're coming back, or maybe you've got 1 or 2 day player roles on your CV. It doesn't really matter where you are, as long as we can start taking these small action steps and building them up so you become a confident, unstoppable actor. So let's go back to the first step then. The first sign we said is you're not shouting about the progress that you make. Now, this doesn't just mean shouting about jobs that you've got. That can be nice and easy. We can all do that on our personal social media profiles because we know friends and family are really going to give us those likes and love hearts and lovely comments. What I mean is you're not shouting about your progress in the actual industry itself. Now, some people don't do this because it feels icky to them, or they think it's arrogant, or it feels cringy. But ultimately, you have to market yourself as an actor. So like I said, shouting about your progress doesn't just mean the roles that you land in. Maybe it's a new accent that you've learned. Maybe it's an audition that you've been to. Maybe it's a recall that you got. You might not have got the role, but you got recalled and you got great feedback. Maybe it's some feedback from a director that you got. Maybe it's a scene that you're really proud of. Maybe it's a skill that you've acquired. I don't know. Like, the list is endless of the things that you can be shouting about. But as I've said, you have to market yourself. Now, if you don't market yourself, you are essentially invisible. Nobody knows that you exist. Marketing is the lifeblood of any business. And as I say in loads of these episodes, you have to see yourself as a business, as an actor. As a freelancer, you are a business. You are a business representing yourself. So I want to give you a challenge. Are you up for it? I challenge you to post once to twice per week about what you're getting up to with your acting. Now, if you take me up on this challenge, this will eventually break down that cringe wall or that ick wall or that thought process of, oh God, it's arrogant to shout about yourself. You will eventually find it becomes second nature to shout about yourself, and you'll find ways of doing it that don't feel cringy and don't feel icky. So are you going to do it? I want to hear you saying yes. Well, I obviously can't hear you saying yes, but I would like you to shout yes right now if you are going to do this. Posting once to twice per week about what it is that you're doing. And this is on a professional profile, not on your personal one, where your best friend or your cousin or your mum or whoever is going to be like, hey, that's amazing. I want you doing it on your professional profile. So let's go to the second sign that you're invisible then, which is you haven't had an audition in the last 6 to 12 months. No actor wants to be not getting auditions, because unless you've got a really good network and you are getting recommended for jobs left, right and centre, we have to be getting out to auditions. So when we're not getting auditions, it's either because you're applying for the wrong things or you're barely applying for things. Now let's just take it out of the equation that you could be applying for the wrong things. Let's just go down the route of you're barely applying for roles. Again, this comes down to a lack of confidence. Now, you might say, oh yeah, just keep procrastinating over it. But I personally don't believe, procrastination is a thing, but it generally gets labelled as lazy or laziness. I don't believe in laziness. Do you know what I believe? I believe that laziness actually covers up a fear. And that fear is that lack of confidence. So what is it that you are fearing? If you are not applying for as many roles as you know you should be, or you're barely applying for castings, I challenge you, here is another challenge, I challenge you to write down all of your fears around applying for roles. Now, it might even go beyond the role. Maybe it's the fear is deep down, actually, I don't think I'd be very good at this role. Whatever it is, just write everything down. And then I challenge you to find evidence to discredit every single one of those fears. Now, this might take you a bit of time to do. If you can set aside about an hour, let's say an hour on a Sunday morning, to do this exercise, you will eventually uncover all of these fears. And then when you discredit them and you've found all the evidence from your life to discredit them, you go, oh my gosh, the fear's not true after all. So actually, I can start applying for more castings than I have been doing. So let me give you an example. The example might actually be that really deep down the fear is that I don't think I'm very good as an actor. I just don't think I'm good enough. So you write that fear down, and then you are going to list every single piece of evidence from your life that counteracts that fear and discredits it. So for example, maybe, and you might even have to go back to your school days, and it really doesn't matter. Maybe a high school teacher or secondary school teacher said, let's pretend your name's Kayla. They might have said, Kayla, you have got a natural ability for acting. The fact that someone said that discredits the fact that you think you are not good enough. Maybe you did a play when you were 16 and you had audience members coming up to you going, oh, wow, Kayla, you nearly had me in tears. That is evidence to discredit this fear that you're not good enough. So you write all these things down. Is that making sense? Yes? So I challenge you to write down all of your fears around not applying for enough auditions, and it will be something underneath that. It won't actually be, oh, I'm scared of applying for auditions. It will be something underneath that. So dig deep. So then I also want to challenge you to write to 3 casting directors and apply for 3 jobs per week after you've uncovered the fears and discredited them. Now, when you do this will start to increase your confidence. And the reason being is because you'll eventually start to get into a routine of doing it. So all you need to do is once a week, write to 3 casting directors and apply for 3 jobs. That's it. Nice and easy. And then, as I said, you'll be in a routine. It'll be second nature. It'll be like water off a duck's back. So that's what I want you to do. So let's go to the third sign then. The third sign that you are an invisible actor is that your CV, or if you're in the States, you call it your resume, it has no new credits on it. And it hasn't had any new credits on it for the last 6 to 12 months. Now, this could be a number of things. So again, we're going to take this idea of it being a lack of confidence. It could be a lack of confidence in asking your agent to send you the submission breakdowns of what they've been submitting you for each month. It could be you procrastinating over you subbing yourself for more challenging roles. Again, that's lack of confidence. It could be deep down, kind of merging with the last sign, that you don't believe in your own talent. So when you're actually getting to auditions, so maybe you are getting to auditions, when you get into them, you're not actually taking risks with the character and you're not making interesting character choices. And what you're actually doing is you're playing the same thing over and over again. And that could either be you playing you or you trying to make it look and sound natural. And the thing about that is not going to make you stand out at auditions. So you need to get some training under your belt. Even if you've already trained, you need a refresher. So get some training under your belt. Get the eye of an experienced coach on your work who can give you crucial feedback, and you can then work through your blind spots that they uncover to you. This will build your confidence because if you get the eye of an experienced coach under your belt, they'll be able to tell you what you need to do instead to overcome these blind spots. So then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm defaulting to that thing again at my auditions. Oh, I know what to do because I've worked through this with a coach. Then you'll start taking risks with the characters. Okay, so I challenge you to take one of the last 7 remaining places in total character immersion, especially if that last sign has resonated with you, or the first one about not shouting about your progress. Let me tell you why I challenge you to take one of the last 7 remaining places in total character immersion. Because not only are we going to go through your skills, and not only will your skills be given a huge boost, but as a bonus, we are also promoting every actor who enrolls on our socials to raise your visibility. And we're adding you to a highlight on our Instagram called Emerging Talent, because we do get casting directors and agents looking at our profile. And when they see that highlight, Emerging Talent, they're going to be like, oh, who is this? There might be some actors that I've not heard of. When they click on it, they'll see you. We are also going to give you as another bonus 5 days access to the Business of Acting Bootcamp upon completion of total character immersion. And that's going to help you learn how to build up your actor CV quicker, how to brand yourself, how to market yourself. So not only are you learning how to give your character development skills a booster so you can make more interesting choices, but you're also getting these extra bonuses as well that will help you with the business of acting. So as I've already said, enrollment closes Sunday the 12th of February, which is when the first live class starts. There are 7 places left, 5 days left to enroll, 5 juicy bonuses available to you, and also a 10% discount using the discount code Unstoppable Actor. So if you want to enroll in that and grab one of those last 7 places, just click the link underneath this podcast episode. And I hope this has given you so much food for thought. I hope you're able to identify where you're lacking confidence, and rather than beat yourself up about it, go, actually, there are practical steps that I can take now. I've got practical things that I can do to overcome this. So thank you so much for listening. and I'll see you in the next episode. I have absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors. Now, if you did, I'd really love you to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave a review. And if you would like weekly injections of inspiration, you'd like mini method acting challenges to keep you making progress with your dreams, come and join the most supportive acting community online by clicking the link in the notes to help you become an unstoppable actor.